check out Pressing Matters. I'm your boy Jamal Radio Raheem. Now, my original intro, for some reason, decided it didn't want to act right, so I have to do it this way. This episode is featuring Dre. Check out the full episode, and I will catch y'all next time. Peace out.
How do you decide when to add a record to your collection?
It's sometimes a spur of the moment. Like if I hear a song and I'll recognize it, I will literally go to lengths end to find out um, where to get that record from. I spent a good majority of time like in local record stores, mom and pops, a lot of thrift stores. So if it's a song that I heard when I was a child and I forgot about it until it actually hits me, I'm just like, huh, all right, let me go find it. So what's the first place I go to is eBay, and I always catch a deal in some form or fashion.
Hmm.
Like example, I don't know if you remember the song, the group Wish with Fonda Ray, "Touch Me."
Hmm.
Now, my uncle used to play this song almost every day when I was a kid, and then I didn't hear it until recently, and I told myself, "Yo, I remember that song." So it's the first thing I do. I go on eBay. I look for the song. Some people want 20. A lot of people want 30. I caught it in a lot of records,
Hmm.
and I was like, I remember the label. It was pink. It had a K on it. It said Wish, featuring Fonda Ray. When I saw it, I just said click. Damn, paying the $75. I said, I want that record.
Hmm.
So the decision always is, I always tell people when you want a record, you want it for all the good reasons.
Hmm.
Like, cause you want it in your collection, so you want to listen to it later. Don't think about the don't think about the monetizing or the value of it. The dollar value will always fluctuate. It's just about the value that you have in your heart with it. Because I love that song. So I love that song so much as a kid, and I just like forgot about it because hip hop just took over. And I was like, real? I was like, yeah, I need that record. So that's sometimes how I determine. But digging in the crates will always be that kind of roulette where you'll see something. Like sometimes the cover will interest you, and you'll be like, I like that cover. Like Mandrill, they have a whole face of a baboon on it, and I was like, I bet you I could find a bomb ass sample on that.
Hmm.
And I did. And I'm still waiting for my cousin to send that record back. That's I'm like, I called him, hey man, can I get my Mandrill album back? He was like, oh yeah, 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 no problem. I'm done with it. I'm done with it. 5 years later.
That's good though. Like usually for me, when I'm trying to add like a record, one I see like is it on I have a list of records that I want. But then if it's like sometimes I see an album cover, it's usually albums from like the 70s, and I'm like, I
Uh-huh.
like the album cover, and then I'll try to listen to a couple of songs to see. Sometimes I just like I'm gonna buy it, and if I don't like it, oh well, because it'd be like $2. So it depends for me. But I like the way that you do it, to be honest.
Are you like me and you carry a portable record player with you when you go digging?
Nah, some of the shops that I go to, they have like a listening station. Um, Sometimes I just go on like YouTube because I'll be in the record store for like hours. I'll go on YouTube and like listen to the whole album while walking around and doing stuff. And if I like the album, I'll come back and get the record. So it
Mm.
depends, you know. Sometimes I kind of know what I want when I go to the record store. Like
Yeah.
I'll hear like I'll be listening to a song and then I'll be like, where's that sample from? And then I'll find the sample, then I'll listen to the artist. I'm like, okay, I'm going to the record store just for that. And then I'll just grab that album and I won't even try to like dig for anything else because I'll spend too much money and I'll just leave. So sometimes I have a mission. It's just Yeah, it depends. But where I live too, there's a whole bunch of record stores. So
Mm-hmm.
it's kind of like I know I have a luxury of being able to find most of the stuff I want. It's just how much I'm willing to pay for stuff. It's usually what it comes down to.
Yeah, I think that happens. I think that happens. So that would brings you to your second. That we'll get to the second question because we said when someone wants to start collecting vinyl, my thing is have a price point and have a budget
Hmm.
because you will go broke very, very, very quickly.
Yeah, just go to that. What advice do you have for anybody who's trying to get into collecting?
Save your money before you jump into this mad rabbit hole that a lot of us have dug around in. Save your money, understand your budget, find a genre first that you could build off from. Like, don't jump from genre to genre to genre, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, because you'll start to get confused and be like, oh, damn, I don't know what to get. Like, if you want to start with heavy metal, start with heavy metal. You want to start with alternative rock, start with alternative rock. If you want to start with hip hop, start with hip hop. But start with that specifically so you can have an understanding of what you're collecting, and then let your collection grow from that,
Mhm.
so you have better organization. I have a hodgepodge of a record collection, and I still can't understand how I messed this up,
Hmm.
because all my albums I have lost count, and I've been collecting for the past 30 years, and I still don't have anything organized.
Oh wow.
So I would say out of all those years, I have two cubby holes that are strictly hip hop and jazz. Everything else is all over the place.
Mm.
So that's bad on my part. I'm pretty sure that made a lot of collectors cringe. Like, how do you not have your stuff organized? Because the truth of the matter is, everyone knows me that I collect records, so they'll go into their like parents' house and be like, "Yo, we found these records, or we found this bin, we found this barrel here," without like a moment's notice. I have like 3 crates here of records that I still haven't gone through yet, and I'm just like, oh, I'm running out of space now.
Gosh.
So I always I tell people, especially one of my nephews is starting to get into collecting, so I gave him a couple records out of my collection to get him started,
Mhm.
so he can have an understanding of what goes into it, um, like how to care for them. Are you doing this just to listen? Are you doing this to build a portfolio? Exactly what is it that you're trying to do? And he's just like, I just want to collect. I'm like, okay, I cannot knock that. So here in New York, we have, but okay, so here's the funny thing. Here in New York, we used to have a whole lot of record stores back in the day. We had hundreds. We were down to a bare minimum, especially here. I live in the Bronx,
Okay.
so the Bronx always had plenty of record stores, and this was far before Serato was even thought of. But once Serato became a thing, those record stores died out. And the last remaining one in the Bronx is called Harmony Records. And I would pay a pretty penny. My God, I had the hardest time saying that, for a lot of the records that I wanted. And I think the most I ever spent at that time was for Eric B and Rakim's "Don't Sweat the Technique," and that was like $45.
Okay.
And I think that at that time that record was, it was pretty. I won't say it was very old, but at that time it was like it came out in the early '90s, and I remember I bought that record 2004. So that was my first introduction. That was my first introduction to like really going out to find something. Because I was like I said, I always go through the thrift store, I always dig, see, and find some good gems. But I never really like saw some. I never really sought after something like that back in the day. So that was my first introduction to it. Well, he was, oh yeah, here you go, $45. I was like, huh, for a single? He
Yeah,
said, yeah. He says it's out of print, man. I was like, here, take my money, and I went home happy. So that's what I want to tell new vinyl collectors. Know like know what you want to do with it, but don't know what you want. Like kind of get yourself lost, but get yourself lost in a genre where you can start collecting and then build from that. Because if you want to start off, you say, oh, I want to find Wu Tang. Go out and find the Wu Tang singles. Go find the records. Jump if you have stores in your neighborhood, jump from store to store to store. It doesn't matter if it's an original pressing or it's a new pressing. If you want it, go out and get it. That's how you start, because you have a lot of collectors that'll tell people, oh, having an original pressing, you're a real collector. No. I had to get out that mentality myself, because I was like that for a while, and I would tell people, like, it doesn't matter if I have a remastered or an original. If I could have the original, because when they do a remaster, there's certain cuts and samples that were never cleared back then.
yeah,
Then fine. But if I have both of them, I have both of them. I'm not gonna knock somebody for buying records out of Barnes and Noble. There's no point in that, because you're finding someone who just found a newfangled love in music. And truthfully, listening to music on vinyl is the purest form of listening to music, because that's it right there. Once that needle drops, that's whatever they were recording right there in that wax.
hmm
Nothing digitally recorded, nothing. Analog was always the best to listen to music. So to all you CD collectors out there, fuck you.
that's a good way of looking at it. To be honest, I know a lot of like there's some snobs in the vinyl community, and they're like, if it's not an original pressing and blah, I hate that. I'm like, listen, if you like the album, get the album.
It's, it
It
makes
don't
no.
matter.
It doesn't. It really, really doesn't. Because some people, because I know a lot of music historians, and they'll tell me stories. They'll be like, look, okay, and at the same time, you want somebody that'll teach you. So I'm always open to helping somebody out and teaching them, because you'll have some records that come out. Okay, it was on this record label, then it went to this record label, then went to this record label. For prime example, I bought an Anita Baker Rapture album. It's on Atlantic Records, and I'm like, I don't remember it being on Atlantic Records, because I know it was on Elektra at first.
Mhm.
So boom, I got the one for Elektra, because we all know that throughout certain times, a lot of these record labels buy the rights to a
Yeah,
lot of the catalogs, and they put it on their imprint. So I would tell people, they're like, oh yeah, I got Anita Baker, from Atlantic Records, and you're just like, I know that's true, but I know for a fact it was on Elektra, and I don't beat nobody over the head because of that. Like, you'll have people talk, you're misinformed. It was on Elektra. You don't know what you're talking. No, let's not do that.
yeah,
Just tell them, yeah, it was on Atlantic, because Atlantic owns the rights to it now. It was originally on Elektra Records. Elektra to this day does not exist. Their all their catalogs are sold to Sony.
hmm
We all know that. So, like, you'll have some people, and I hear a lot of people, in a lot of these record stores, these mom and pop stores, and they just talk down to each other in a condescending manner. Oh, you don't know. I don't have time for that. And don't do that in front of us. Don't do that in front of me, please. And I'll just look at you like, really? You sound like you sound like a jerk.
that is what they are. They're jerks for doing that. Because even like if somebody's just getting into like collecting or they're just getting into music, just finding artists and stuff like that, you will push them away by doing that. You're going to push them away from it. And then anytime like people talk about vinyl or just collecting anything, they're going to remember you. You're going to like taint their experience. So
Mm-hmm.
there's a whole bunch of people like that out there. I didn't know about them people because I used to just collect and I wasn't like on social media or on the internet until I got to the internet and then like in comments and people would just say certain things. I'm just like, yeah, it's not that deep. And it's also, you don't need to say anything. You don't have to be that person. There's always somebody who wants to like overcorrect, and you don't have to do that. It's not
No,
necessary. So,
because what I think they see it as a sense of it gives them strength where it pretty much makes them makes them look you know out of character.
mhm,
Like you shouldn't be going around doing that to somebody. That's like someone, clear example, especially because you live in California, when somebody new goes to a skate park and they're learning how to ride their skateboard. Out of 20 out of those people, I see always 9 trying to help that kid out, and everyone else is like, "Get out of my way! Like you're doing that wrong, or you're a noob." No, the kids, like the kid, whoever they're learning, they want to get into it. And I really hate to use the term poser because it's just so demeaning. But
mhm.
you always have somebody like that. Like, come on, because like what was it? I remember I had a conversation long ago, and this I don't know. This kid was either in his like mid to late 20s, trying to tell a good majority of us how to collect vinyl. We're like, the topic was, you know, oh, do we go to thrift stores or do we go to the Salvation Army? I'll go to either or, even though Salvation Army is a thrift store. And no, like normally you go to a thrift store, you get water damaged records, dusty records. You get some clean and sealed records. I'll tell you a funny story about that one. And this kid told me, he was like, "Oh, if you shopping for records at thrift store, you must be broke." I'm like,
Hmm.
"What?" My inner New Yorker wanted to rip him apart, but I just said, "No, let me chill out." And I said, it doesn't matter if I shop at a thrift store if I'm broke to buy records. If I see a record I like and it's in good condition, semi good condition, and it's $1, I'm buying it. A lot of my records have cost $1. A lot of my 45s have cost $1. I'm not ashamed of digging through records at a Salvation Army. That's where you find some really good lost music.
Mhm.
If I have the means to go to a record store to buy whatever record I want and I'm looking for, I'll do that. But what's the first place I'm going to check? I'm going to check a thrift store, because one day I went to the Salvation Army. There was this nice lady, Marissa. She worked at this Salvation Army for years, and she said, and know me by name. Sadly, that's how many times I went in there. And she said, "Andre, we just got 7 new crates in the back. I'll take you to them." And she'll take me to the crates. I think I walked out paying like $150 for like 5 of those crates.
Oh wow.
And in one of those crates, I found Jay-Z's Blueprint, the entire album. And I paid what? $1 for 3 records. $1. So I don't knock anyone. If you go into a thrift store, that's where you find a majority of your gems.
Yeah.
So now I have a question for you.
Oh, go ahead.
What was the first record you purchased?
Purchased.
Like
Um,
for you to start everything off. What was the first record? Matter of fact, it's not purchased. What was the first record that you owned? That you can
Okay.
say that it was yours and not your parents, nobody's.
Low End Theory, Tribe Called Quest. I was gifted that one. Um, that's my favorite album ever. Like that's when I really was like starting to like get into like loving music. And I was older when I got it. Like the album came out like I think the year I was born, or a year before I was born. And like so
92.
yeah, I was born in 92. So that album came out, but like when I like was really like getting into like my own like taste in music, I was like listening to that album. The album got me into like jazz albums. So that was the first album that I got. I think the first album that I purchased was it was two albums. It was Redman and it was DMX. I got them from Urban Outfitters. They were $5.
Nothing wrong with that.
So like that's why I don't get on people. You get records when you get it, but yeah, Low End Theory was the first album that I got, and I got that as a gift. So
Nice. And one of the best and one of the best rap albums to have, especially from that era,
yeah,
which I still want. I don't have. I only have. I believe I have Midnight Marauders,
okay,
and that album, hands down, as much as I love a Tribe Called Quest and their entire catalog, Midnight Marauders is top is literally top five their greatest album.
the album is great.
And whoever watches this, they're gonna be like, "Yo, get this guy out of here,"
The album's
because
you can make a case that's one of the greatest hip hop albums ever, like easily, because the improvement that they made, like Low End Theory has a special place in my heart because of what it did for me. But Midnight Marauders is probably a better album. I say this like all the time because of their improvement production wise, lyricism, just like everything was just put together in a they're a little bit older, so like the rhymes are better. It's a great album. So
you couldn't take that away from him, especially between the production of Ali Shaheed and Q-Tip. But then again, you can't take away the lyrical content between both Five Dog and Q-Tip. They made that album what it is, and it was one of the greatest.
yep. So
And you can't take that away from them. But yeah, a low end theory between here's how I say a low end theory is great for jazz. Who got you in your love of jazz? Art Blakely's sample on the beginning with Excursions, when you just hear that deep bass start off, and you're like it traps you in automatically. It's like, oh, okay, wait a second, I'm feeling this all the way to the last song, which is Scenario, which I can sit through that whole album and get right to Scenario without skipping a single track. See, that's why you have albums that you have a thriller effect.
hmm
Why I call it a thriller effect is there's there's no one on this planet that can sit here and say, "Oh yeah, I could skip this song on Thriller." No, you can't.
yeah,
You shouldn't.
not a skip on there.
That's not a skippable album. So no, I
And
always tell people
that's an album you can play for anybody. It don't
yep.
matter like who it is. Kids can listen to it, adults can listen to it. Like everybody can listen to that album. You can play it anywhere. That's one of them albums. It's just universally like that's like a perfect album. Like I know a lot of people say there's perfect albums. That's a perfect album because you can literally play it anywhere in any situation, no matter what. It works.
Yeah,
So,
it does. It works. You can find something on there that brightens your day.
yep.
You're like, why is this song making me cheery? I just woke up this morning. I spilled my coffee on the train. My boss is bothering me, but why is this song cheering me up? Because it's a perfect album.
Yeah. Lady in My Life makes me happy every time. That song makes me happy every time. And no matter what I'm going through, I put that song on. Even just the beat alone, the dun, 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 got me every time. So
Yep. So preach, preach.
Um, let's move on to the next question. Do you have any other forms of physical? It's a two-part. So, do you have any other forms of physical media that you collect? And also, why do you think it's important to collect physical media?
So, okay, to answer the first part, I do collect other forms of media. I got back into collecting laser discs.
Okay.
So, and a lot of people ask me like, what? The funny thing is, someone asked me, they said, "What the hell's a laser disc?" And I'm like, it's pretty much a DVD the size of a record. And they're like, when did they start this? 1970, and it ended in 1999
Yeah.
abruptly. And the reason why I collect different forms of media is because it's good to have something that can show you the era of technology that we were in.
Hmm.
So I have my old VHS tapes. I said I'm gonna hold on to these because I'll never know. Like getting them on DVD or Blu-ray is fine, but just like having them on VHS and still having a VCR, it's just like, okay, I don't want to go on a streaming site that doesn't have the rights to it, and I have to like skim through everything, go get a jailbroken Roku stick, which I do not approve of. And I was like, hey, oh, you know what? I have Little Giants, or I have Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. If I want to watch it, I could just pop it in the VCR, watch it in low res on a LED on an OLED TV screen, and still feel that nostalgia. Because like who cares? But the greatest importance about owning physical media is the fact that you'll never know when you'll never know either when you'll see it or you'll hear it again. Because of the fact that we don't know who owns whatever to it. Like I have In Living Color on DVD. I can't find it anywhere on these streaming
Yeah.
sites.
Not on there.
So that's a clear example. It's always good to have, something, and it's yours. I don't have to give it back to anybody. I don't have to say, hey, you know what? I'm done listening to this. Here, have it back. No, it's mine forever. It's treasured. Now you have, um, like I said, I have a whole bunch of cassette tapes, and I still have my cassette player, and I have a lot of my old hip hop mixtapes that I had from the early 2000s that I still listen to this day because I'll never hear these songs ever again. I don't want to have to search through Apple Music and never find it. I just have boom right here, tape player, rock with it. DJ Clue's Perfect Desert Storm was like one of the greatest mixtapes that came out of 2000. And I blasted that thing repeatedly. So the simple fact that I have it again on cassette is amazing. And the fact that I lost my Nas's Illmatic on cassette still bothers me to this day. Because man, moving sucks when you're young.
Yeah, that's a good answer. I ain't got nothing to add to that. That's a great answer. Um, all right, I always finish with this last question. It's a hard question. I don't even know if I have an answer for it, but I'm not answering it. So, Desert Island, and you get 5 vinyl from your collection to take. What are those albums you take and why?
Now you're answering that question with me.
That answer
You're
don't change.
five vinyl that I would take with me on a deserted island. Well, let's see here. First off, New Editions, Any Heartbreak.
Okay.
And the reason why is that I can listen to this. I can listen to this record all the way through. Like I said, another reason for a perfect album or perfect-ish album. I'll say if New Edition, tends to go through the algorithm and they see this video, they might get mad. There's 2 songs on this album that I could really do without. 2. Competition. Excuse me. That's weird. Because there's another song on here. It's Competition and Super Lady, which I don't see it. Okay, this might be a little bit interesting because that's kind of a. I want to say, no. See, now my inner OCD has kicked in because there's a song on here, and it's not on the record. I'm sorry, we're gonna have to put a pin in this one because if I remember correctly, on the CD there was a song called Super Lady and Competition. Those 2 songs I could do without. There was a song that they made for the Ghostbusters 2 soundtrack called Supernatural. If you ever get a chance, everybody watching this video, when you see this, if you ever get a chance, go find the Ghostbusters 2 soundtrack and listen to it. You'll be quietly amazed at how incredible that album was. But okay, I'm sorry, my OCD kicked in.
Are you good? You're good.
My OCD kicked in. I'm looking at the track list. I'm like, wait a second, something's wrong here. But I can listen to this because this is the first record that my uncle bought me that he gave to me as Christmas. This is the first record he gave me, and I could not stop listening to this. Now, for my second album, this was my mother's favorite record. Like, she would play this, and it's embedded in my DNA now. Luther Vandross's "The Night I Fell in Love." This record is probably one of his best works, and through all the listens that he had here, this album was just absolutely phenomenal. Another perfect record you'll listen to from beginning to end. And the funny side fact, Luther Vandross was a glorified cover singer.
Yeah, a lot of covers.
But guess what? He made him sound 10 times better than the original singer. So, woo. Third album, Blackbird City Life.
I don't think I heard that one.
This is amazing. This is like amazing slash between pop, R&B, soul, and jazz. The Blackbirds have their catalog is extensive, and they have a lot of great songs, especially a lot of oversampled songs. And my 2 favorite songs on here is Hashed and Eggs, which is the last track, and then Rock Creek Park, which is one of the greatest breakbeat songs that ever came out. Because I would hear that, I would see everyone breakdance to it, and I was just like, yo, this album is amazing. And that was the first time I was introduced to jazz in that kind of weird manner. So it was pretty much Blackbirds, Bob James, Wes Montgomery, and Dexter Wansel. Sorry. Because he came out with this album Life of Planets, and that album blew me away as a jazz album. As my 4th album, Prince's Sign of the Times. And the one song on here that I can listen to forever is Adore.
It's a perfect song.
Yeah, I try to hit the high notes, but it don't work. I don't know. Because the first time I was introduced to this was the concert that he had on VHS. My uncle bought it, and we were watching it. So that was kind of like my first concert film that I ever watched. And I was like, one day I found this in a $5 bin downtown Brooklyn, and I said, yeah, I need to have this. And I listened to it all the way through. And we got to Adore, I said, yep. Until the end. Can't do it. I can't do it. And last but not least, now this is a real funny story. My brother introduced me to this group. Little brother, the minstrel show. Oh my god, I couldn't stop listening to this. And then I found this is pretty much one of my most expensive pickups
Hmm.
because I broke the $200 mark on this one.
Whew.
Yeah, this is why I tell people when you get into collecting vinyl, you will find some gems that you're gonna really want and you're going to pay. So, like I said, save your money
Oh yeah, that was a good
because you
choice.
would. Whew, that was a hard decision to make at that time. I
Whew.
said cell phone bill or little brother. Bingo.
So,
Now, for you, good sir, what are your 5 albums that you'll have on a desert island?
let me see. I'll give you mine at this moment. Mine changes. So, well, Low End Theory is always going to be on there. That's a staple. That's never going to leave. Um, there's this artist. Her name is Leanne LaHaves. She's a singer. She has a self-titled album. I listen to that album so much. I feel like I listen to it every Sunday. Like I play it on the record all the time. That album, it got me through the pandemic. I'll tell you that. It got me through the pandemic. I would say Kendrick's probably Section 80. Um, I
Oh,
I have a bootleg of it, but
yes.
that album, uh, what a great album. That album is too real though. Like when I listen to it right now because of what is currently happening in the world. So I
Mm,
gotta like put that album down for a little bit. But that's an album like if I need to like connect to reality, that's one. Songs in the Key of Life, Stevie Wonder.
yes.
Um, that's I don't think I need to explain that one. But
No,
like
I
that's
sometimes I can't listen to that album. It makes me tear up sometimes.
really
Yeah.
the album makes me feel every like emotion possible. Um, couple songs on there I had to stop listening to because it was reminding me of something that I didn't need to be reminded of. Reminded me of a person I didn't want to be reminded of. Let's just put it that way. Last album. Oof. I'm looking at my collection. I'm trying to see. Oh, I'll go to Enter the Drew. I'll go to Drew Hill.
The
Um,
Drew Hill, Into the Drew. Huh?
just
That
for
was a solid.
beauty, just for that one song.
Ooh, yeah.
That song right there.
That butchered masterpiece. Okay, the reason why I call it a butchered masterpiece is because when that album came out, every last talent show had a quartet of individuals trying to recapture that song far too many times. And I'm just like, I give y'all an A for effort, but damn, could y'all stop?
I could see like a whole bunch of people trying to. Honestly, if I was like, if I could sing a little bit and I had a group, I would probably pick that song to sing.
So,
Everybody
so
can
what
get their shine,
I
but
kid I kid you not, but my God, that was just oh, you have because you'll go to a talent show, they'll have three groups. Oh yeah, we're singing Beauty. You're like the last group sung that, but okay, it's a talent show. We're supporting you. They'll go through it, and you're like, oh, okay. You can't knock them for trying.
yeah.
I have I have that attitude now. When I was younger, I was an asshole. That's that's the bad part.
I play
But
that song so much. But my answers change. I'm probably gonna make a video one day of me going through my whole collection and like picking five actual like because that was off the top of my head, picking five. Because I'm thinking of an album now that I'm like I'm pretty sure I would take like Donuts by Jay Dilla. I'll probably take that album. I don't know which album to take
Oh
off what I just said, but
no, that's what it's called. It's called Donuts.
yeah,
Another good project he had was The Shining.
I don't have The Shining. No, I want The Shining. I don't have it. I saw it. I just was not willing to pay that price.
Look, like I said, I understand. I definitely understand. One day you will be able to get it. You'll have no questions. Like that album was probably between that and Ray Libs. Was The Shining? The Shining was reminded me of who Jay Dilla was and how impactful his production was to hip hop. Especially in working with a lot of legends. He worked with Q-Tip, he worked with Common, Busta Rhymes. He did a couple joints with Kanye. And you're like you can't deny that he's like one of the goats of production.
Hmm.
And it's like between him and there was another producer just like him. If you ever heard of Nujabes,
Yeah.
that I'm trying to like work some things out, pay a couple bills off, have some disposable income so I can buy that whole collection.
Whew. That one's
And
that one's taxing. That one's expensive. His collection, even like one vinyl, it's a lot. I saw it the last time I went to the record store, and I was just like, "Oh, am I going to get this, or am I going to get these other three albums I already got in my hand?" So I just made the decision to get the other three. But you
it's
find
always a balance. It's always a balancing act, and you're just like, man, if I could walk out with all four, I'll do it. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it.
yeah, it's a decision. Um, Dilla is Dilla is one of them producers that like he makes stuff work that doesn't sound like it should have worked. Like the samples he used, I'm like, that don't even sound like it should go together. But how do you make it work? You know, it's crazy some of the stuff because I'm still hearing beats from him, and he's been gone for 20 plus years now at this or 20 years, yeah. And I'm still hearing beats from him that I never heard. I'm like, what the hell? Like, how much how much stuff do you have? Like,
His catalog is extensive. A lot of people tend to forget that he made a lot. He made a lot of beats while he was in the hospital bed.
mhm, he has a
Like
lot.
that MPC 3000 that he had, that they have in the African American Museum
Mhm.
in DC. You look at it and you're it's a box with buttons and circuit boards in it, and you're looking at it like, yo, Jay Dilla made a lot of beats on that thing that, like you said, doesn't make any sense. But he understood musical timing a whole lot better than us.
Yeah.
And you just sit there in awe, like, damn, it's not the machine that makes the music, it's the person that's using it. Because how he was able to chop up a lot of those samples was just like, damn.
Yeah, it's crazy.
How you chop up Carly Simon?
Stuff don't even like make sense sometimes. I'm just like, how did you do this? Like your brain and your ears work in a way that you heard this and was like, I'm going to do this, 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 this. I'm like, I can never. That's why he's in his stuff too. Like, it doesn't sound dated. It sounds like it came out yesterday.
That
That's
you think about it, that is true. It sound like it was just made right then and there.
yeah,
And you forget it was made 20, 25 years ago.
that's crazy.
Like he was ahead of his time.
Like he's if not the greatest, he's up there, and it's
Mm,
crazy. It's crazy how well his stuff sounds. He low key birthed like a whole generation too, like his sound.
yeah. Between him, Native Tongues, he was pretty. I would say he was the purveyor of of neo rap, neo soul and rap at that time, between Slum Village, between Talib Kweli. Common's B album was just like, oh shit.
Yeah, he's
Like the way he created a whole lot of sounds pushed other producers to do better.
mm-hmm.
They said we need that sound. And if Busta Rhymes is saying he's sitting on hard drives of his unreleased beats, I want to hear them.
Yeah.
Like don't keep that from us, please. Because even to this day, with technology being the way it is, now you got an MPC that's the size of a calculator, and people are making beats off of it. Imagine what Dilla could have done with just that MPC 3000, with the MPC one, MPC portable, MPC standalone, and with like, what could he have possibly done, and what could he have made? That's the beautiful part about it. That's why I look at Jay Dilla as one of the greatest,
Mm-hmm.
because he made something out of nothing, and he took obscure samples and made everything with it.
Everything. Like
Ooh.
he's one of, if not the greatest to do it, because of just the work ethic. Like nothing stopped him. Like I watched his documentary. Uh, that one, I was like, gosh. Like there's CDs that like people have of just unreleased beats. Like he made so much work. It is honestly crazy the amount of work that he did. Um, I don't even know how we got to that. Can you give your information for people so they can follow you, all that type of stuff before I close it out?
Oh, sure, no problem. On Instagram, I'm known as Dre of all trades. On Instagram and on TikTok, it'll just come up as Dre on TikTok. I don't know how that happened. I think they were messing with me. They said, "Oh, you Dre? No, you know what? We're just gonna call you Dre." Like, okay. YouTube is the same, Dre of all trades. And if anybody wants to chop it up with me on Warzone, Dre of all trades 7 on PlayStation Network.
Okay.
So there's a DREOFALLTRADES.
All right. All
Like
right.
Jack of all trades, just Dre without the Jack.
Yeah, it is Dre.
But
I'm looking at it right now. It's Dre on TikTok.
yeah, I can't explain that one.
But
I can't. It wasn't my doing. It wasn't good product placement. They just said, yeah, your name's too long, Dre,
yeah.
and they stuck me with it. Oh, cool.
Okay. Thank you for coming on. This has been Pressing Matters. I've been your host, Jamal Radio Rahim, and I'll catch y'all with another episode.